Welcome back. My name is Patrick Nolan. I'm an attorney licensed in the state of Missouri. This is Pat Talks Law. Those of you who have been following the developments in Missouri's medical marijuana laws and following the social media surrounding that are most likely familiar with some of the people who are out there in social media. Okay, Waxy, love that guy. Nate Bowman, another guy who's put out some really good videos. If you have an opportunity, check out his channel, Nate on Cannabis. He put out one recently, and this is what I want to address. And I guess, well, fuck me, I'm doing a reaction video. But I want to talk about. He was discussing expungement, whether expungement should be automatic or if you should have to petition for it, and whether we should have expungements for marijuana-related offenses. First, I want to clarify something that I don't think he said well. And it's not anything against him. He isn't a lawyer, and he probably isn't aware. But you can get criminal charges expunged in Missouri now. We don't need additional legislation for it. Now, a person's able to get a couple of misdemeanors, a felony expunged from their record. There's some things they have to show. They've got to file a petition. And, there is a cost to that. And frankly, you should talk to an attorney if you're interested in getting expungement. One of the issues that he doesn't like, and, he touched on, without touching on, that you can have an expungement now, is that it takes time. The way the current law is, you can't get a crime expunged until after a period of time to show that you are no longer a lawbreaker. So, for example, an a misdemeanor, after you've completed whatever probation you might have or any sentence you might have, after that is over, it's 3 years. Okay? And you're looking at 7 years on a felony. So that takes a lot of time. You could still get the incidents expunged, but what could stop an expungement? Well, additional charges could stop an expungement. And this doesn't apply to just marijuana-related offenses, there are actually a wide gamut of charges that can be expunged. Now, some people get what's called an SIS, and then they want to expunge it, and they kind of already have. So, and there's a whole debate. Normal has reached out and is asking people for opinions on this. Now, an automatic expungement, that's fine, except that in every place that has done an automatic expungement, what happens is it's automatic when the state or the highway patrol, whatever agency is assigned to do it, gets around to finding your case. Then it becomes automatic. But it doesn't come off until then. If you want it to come off before they get around to doing it, you're going to have to file a petition. So, as it stands right now, in Missouri, you have to file a petition. It's not a big thing. You got a filing fee. And quite frankly, it can be done without an attorney. I don't know if I would recommend it, but it can be done. If you can follow the directions, follow the statute, and you can do that without an attorney. Which the next question is, well, why do you guys charge so much for it? Well, attorneys charge what their time is worth, and if they're working on one case, they're not working on another. Just because you can do it without an attorney doesn't mean an attorney is going to do it for less money. Yada yada, so on. So with an expungement, what happens? Say you seek an expungement, the court seal the case. The case doesn't go away. The law enforcement entities that you've named will get notice that it's been expunged, and they've got to seal their records too. Those records don't ever go away, but it will take a court order to access them, unless you are a law enforcement agency or a court. Then they're going to have access, because they're going to be able to pull it up if they know it's there. Now, one of the other problems with expungement is you can ask that your nicest record with the FBI be expunged. The arrest record, all that goes to the FBI's database. Okay? And most of the times, when people get expungements, they don't fight that part very well. They're not actually out ensuring those records are getting expunged. Why? Because that doesn't drive the cost up a lot, because they don't freaking do it. Can it be done? Yeah, and it is. But it's not being done for $700, or even $1,000, or whatever the going rate in your community is. And there are vast differences between the urban areas of Missouri and the rural areas of Missouri. Legal fee prices sway dramatically. Now, I will say I had an expungement that we took up to the Court of Appeals and won at the Court of Appeals. The expungement was relatively inexpensive. The client had an arrest. We got it expunged. The state actually appealed the case, and then we won in the Court of Appeals, and that was that. So where you are with expungement and what you're thinking about as far as policies. For example, if we had one of the proposals that had been put forward for legalization of marijuana that included an expungement section had passed, then we would have a situation where you could very well have anybody convicted of a marijuana-related offense having the marijuana-related offenses expunged, just as a matter of course. So what happens? If that's not happening fast enough, who's going to do it? These things weren't in the proposals. No, who's responsible for doing it? Who's responsible for paying for it? If it's an automatic expungement and it doesn't happen within X months of the law being passed, then frankly the state should be on the hook for the person's private attorney fee. And that's the way you do it. All marijuana related offenses will be expunged automatically. And if they are not removed by X date, then the state shall pay the private attorney expenses of the person seeking to have it expunged. If they have to file a petition, the state pays the bill. Or the attorney, may just have to write a letter to that office and get it working. That might do it too. But whomever is going to be doing the expungements is going to have a budget. And that's what's going to kill everything in Missouri is the almighty dollar. You got a budget, you got somebody in charge of it. What department's going to do it? Is it going to fall under public safety? No, are we going to be giving this to the highway patrol to do? And if the highway patrol does it, are they going to be responsible for notifying all the local police departments and courts? This is going to be, frankly, a clusterfuck to do automatically. I think that the only way that they're going to be able to practically do it is grant you the right to the expungement and then tell you to go hire your own attorney and do it. Now, if that happens, there will be a lot of firms like mine that are going to set up a structure system to just run these things through in volume and cheap. We're going to be in the courthouse on that day anyway, doing expungements, so we'll do 50 of them that day. And if that's what you're doing, we can do them for a lot less money than if we're doing one-offs. So I think that's the way it's going to wind up going in Missouri, and that's because of the cost involved. Now, I think most of the people watching the video are going to agree with me that there are positives and negatives to the expungements. Okay? There are going to be people that are going to hold out and they're going to say that you shouldn't expunge a crime merely because we changed the law. At the time you were convicted, you broke the law, you knew you broke the law, and you're punished for it. That's not an incorrect statement of your history. That's what it is. And then you have other people who are more equitable, who are going to say that, you know what, we've legalized marijuana medically, we're likely going to legalize recreationally, and why are we throwing people in jail, or have people in jail, or have people with criminal records that's hurting the rest of their life for things that we have now authorized the wealthy in Missouri to do at will. You know, we have somebody who's got a felony on his record, can't own a gun, can't vote because he sold a dime bag of weed, or hell, maybe he sold 100 keys. I don't know, but he sold some weed. But now he's got a record in Missouri, and we've legalized the sale of this product under these conditions. Yet that guy can't get his license cleaned up, or can't get his record cleaned up enough to go work for the guy that's now banking, doing the same thing that he went to prison for. It's a problem. And, you know, these are issues where, on one hand, you have you have to have the empathy and the compassion for the people who are suffering under a system that has numerous problems. On the other hand, you know, I don't think there's any compassion for the person who was defending their acre of weed plants with automatic weapons and landmines. Okay? I don't think the court is going to be as willing to expunge that offense as the person who bought an eighth of weed so he could give it to his grandmother who was suffering from cancer. I think the court is far more likely to expunge the offense on the guy with the eighth of weed and the ailing grandmother than the person who was, you know, farming marijuana in a state park and protecting with landmines and automatic weapons. So they're not the same. Now, same thing with a dealer that's defending his territory by beating up the other side, stabbing, cutting, you know, collecting on debts violently. Those are all things that the court would consider on a regular expungement packet. Now, with the legislation, we're talking about an immediate and no waiting period. If there's no waiting period, there's no way to show that you're not the guy they made out, you know, because you were farming marijuana with automatic weapons and landmines. There's not a period of time where you can say, you know what, my worldview's changed. That's not me. So that's why they have the waiting period. But I think that we have to do something, because it doesn't make sense to allow one group of people to get wealthy doing what another group of people has been imprisoned for. There's too much cognitive dissonance for us to stop and comprehend that. Now, if you're considering an expungement, talk to a lawyer. My firm will be happy to talk to you. Okay? You can do expungements anywhere, and we'd be willing to. The issue, though, is when you're driving out, when you're having an attorney travel, you pay for travel time. So if you were having an attorney go from Kirksville, Missouri, down to do an expungement in Springfield, man, that's expensive. You got 10 hours on the road, a hotel room, dinner. And look, I'm gonna eat good. So you don't bring an attorney from Kirksville to go to Springfield. My firm handles all of Northeast Missouri. there are excellent attorneys all over the state. And we're talking about issues that doesn't require a significantly high degree of expertise or experience. It's an expungement. It requires reading the statute. It requires filling out the form, filing the petition, and following the steps. So you don't need to have the big name come from one place. That said, if you're in Northeast Missouri, you're looking for expungement, call Nolan Law Firm. We're happy to talk to you. Phone number 660-956-4502. Our website, nemolegal.com, nemolegal.com. Now, that said, I plugged my own business. Feels a little shady doing that. But please hit like, subscribe. We'll be talking to you again soon about some of the other issues that have come up recently. If you're following any of the high-profile cases in Missouri, there are a couple of high-profile cases that we're probably going to come back to. Missouri SAPA is getting more attention. We'll probably come back and look at that again. We'll also come back and look at the DHSS appeal of their discovery issues, ordering them to provide discovery in the administrative cases. So we'll look at a bunch of those coming up. We'll also be talking about what the legal process is. If you are, how you go from being just a citizen on the street to being a person defending a criminal case. We'll talk about that coming up here real soon too. So thank you. Please hit like, subscribe, and we'll talk to you again soon.